Greetings for the day, dear students. In the chain of my lectures on structure of proteins, this is my second lecture, and today I will discuss chemical bonds involved in protein structure. Given a full assortment of amino acids, a cell can synthesize all of its protein components. Protein synthesis is a multiple dehydration process. In fact, when the various amino acids unite with each other, there is elimination of water molecule. The net structure of a protein becomes possible as a result of linking together of various amino acid units. The union of various amino acids to each other forming a chain and also among various amino acid residues of different chains involves various types of chemical bonds. We will study them one by one. The first type of bonds are primary bonds. The principal linkage found in all proteins is the covalent peptide bond, that is CONH bond. It is a specialized linkage where carbon atom of the carboxylic group of one amino acid is linked with the nitrogen atom of the NH2 group of adjacent amino acid. Peptide bond is in fact the backbone of the protein chain. The second type of bond is the secondary bonds. Many of the properties of proteins, however, do not coincide with the linear chain structure, thus indicating a variety of bonds other than the peptide bond in their structure. These secondary bonds, as they hold the chain in its natural configuration. Some of the secondary bonds commonly found in proteins are: number 1, disulfide bond. In addition to the peptide bond, a second type of covalent bond found between amino acid residues in proteins, polypeptides, is the disulfide bond. It is formed by the oxidation of the thiol or sulfhydryl group, that is SH group, of two cysteine residues to yield a mole of cysteine, which is an amino acid with a disulfide bridge. Here in this equation, the formation of cysteine molecule is shown, and here a disulfide bond formation is depicted. In generalized form, the reaction can be written as 2RSH plus half O2 gives RSSR plus H2O, that is a sulfide bond. Disulfide bond is formed here. A disulfide bond has a bond length of about 2 angstrom between two sulfur atoms. Hence, disulfide bond formation between two cysteine residues located some distance apart in the polypeptide chain requires that the polypeptide chain be folded back on itself so that the sulfur groups can come close together. Second type of bond is the hydrogen bond. As we know, when the hydrogen atom comes between two electronegative atoms like sulfur, oxygen and nitrogen, etc., then a hydrogen bond is formed. When a group containing a hydrogen atom that is covalently bonded to an electronegative atom such as oxygen, nitrogen, etc., is in the vicinity of a second group containing an electronegative atom, an energetically favorable interaction occurs, which is referred to as hydrogen bond. The formation of a hydrogen bond is due to the tendency of hydrogen atoms to share electrons with two neighboring atoms, especially oxygen and nitrogen. For example, the carbonyl oxygen of one peptide bond shares its electrons with the hydrogen atom of another peptide bond. Thus, we can see here the formation of a hydrogen bond where the hydrogen atom comes between two electronegative atoms, that is oxygen and nitrogen. An interaction sets in between a carbonyl group and the proton of an NH or OH group if these groups come within a distance of about 2.8 angstrom. Hydrogen bonding between amides or peptides plays an important role in stabilizing some conformations of the polypeptide chain. Here some common examples of hydrogen bonding are shown. In the A figure, the hydrogen bonding in a water molecule is shown, and similarly hydrogen bonding in figures B and C are shown. Third is non-polar or hydrophobic bond. Many amino acids have the side chain or R groups which are essentially hydrophobic, that is, they have little attraction for water molecules. Such R groups can unite among themselves with the elimination of water to form linkages between various segments of a chain or between different chains. This is very much like the coalescence of oil droplets suspended in water. In our everyday life, we see that if we put few drops of oil in a cup of water, then they combine together to make a bigger circle, or they unite together. So the association of various R groups in this manner leads to a relatively strong bonding. It also serves to bring together groups that can form hydrogen bonds or ionic bonds in the absence of water. The hydrophobic bonds also play an important role in other protein interactions, for example, formation of enzyme substrate complexes and antibody antigen interactions. Fourth type of bonds are ionic or electrostatic bond or salt bridge, or we can say them salt linkages. The R groups of many amino acids and of glutamic acid and aspartic acid contain negatively charged carboxylate group, and the basic amino acids, for example arginine, lysine, etc., contain positively charged amino group. Thus, these amino acids contribute negatively charged and positively charged side chains to the polypeptide backbone. When two oppositely charged groups are brought close together, electrostatic interactions lead to strong attraction, resulting in the formation of an electrostatic bond. In a long polypeptide chain containing a large number of charged side chains, there are many opportunities for electrostatic interactions. Intramolecular ionic bonds are rather infrequently used in the stabilization of protein structure. In fact, ionized groups are more frequently found stabilizing interactions between protein and other molecules. Thus, ionic bonds between positively charged groups, for example, side chains of lysine, arginine, histidine, etc., and negatively charged groups, that is carboxylate group of side chain of aspartic acid and glutamic acid, do occur. These ionic bonds, although weaker than the hydrogen bonds, are regarded as responsible for maintaining the folded structure or the tertiary structure of the globular proteins. Here in this diagram, the types of chemical bonds involved in protein structure are shown. In the left hand side, the non-covalent bonds are shown, for example hydrogen bonds, non-polar bonds and ionic bonds, and here on the right side we can see the covalent bonds, which include peptide bond and disulfide bond. So students, this was all about the chemical bonds involved in protein structure. In our next lecture, we will discuss the configuration of protein or the structure of proteins. Thank you. Have a nice day.